drop into predictability. Milkman, the paperboy, evening TV. You miss your old familiar friends, waiting just around the bend. Everywhere you look, there's a heart, a hand to hold on to. Everywhere you look, there's a face, somebody who needs you. But you're lost out there and you're all alone. A light is waiting to carry you home. Everywhere you look.
The episode 35 of Everywhere You Look, the unofficial, unofficial Full House podcast. My name's Thomas Green. You can find me on Twitter at NotThatTomGreen.
And I'm Alex Green, and you can find me on Twitter at TheAlexBGreen.
This week, resetting what happened about 6 weeks ago, Jesse has a crisis, which makes him choose between a real job and staying at home and doing his music. This time he drags Joey into the mess. Season 2, episode 13, Working Mothers. But before we get into that, let's plug some stuff. First off, the song that you heard up front by the band Beat Radio. It is a cover of the Full House theme song, Everywhere You Look. Check it out at beatradio.bandcamp.com. Also make sure to check out the newly redesigned website at beatradio.org. Check us out on iTunes, tinyurl.com/fullhousepodcast. You go there, you subscribe, and then you listen to an episode or two if you haven't done so already, which makes this plug really weird. Either way, you go there, you subscribe, you rate us, you write a short review. I will cuss you out on a future episode of this podcast. We have someone to cuss out this week, so that'll be fun. Also, check us out on Facebook, Twitter, and Tumblr. Facebook.com/everywhereyoulookpodcast, everywhereyoulookpodcast.tumblr.com, and on Twitter at FullHousePod. Check us out all three places. We share fun pictures. We put up the podcast. Let's have fun. Let's be friends on the internet. With that, though, before we jump into the meatiness that is this episode, let's jump into the Wayback Machine, February 3rd, 1989, this day in history. Alex, you have a boring one?
Yes, I do. The dictator of Paraguay, Alfredo Stroessner, something like that.
Alfredo Stroessner.
It doesn't sound Spanish. It looks German or something. He was overthrown in a military coup.
That's fun. Is that like a cuckoo or a sus? What's the sauce thing? A susus?
What? Couscous?
Couscous.
It's not a sauce. It's a grain thing. It's kind of like oatmeal, but not.
Well, good for it.
It did remind me that when I was at IU studying elementary education, I had to take this class. I don't remember what it was. But there was one point where we had to pretend that we were having parent-teacher conferences with people who didn't speak English. And since I didn't know any Spanish, really, I just kept saying, "Yo soy de Paraguay," the entire time.
And then you overthrew her, right?
No,
and you became the teacher.
And then I was hanging out with my friend Bethany, like, at lunch, and I just kept saying it over and over and over, and I was driving her insane. Because that's what I do. I make people crazy.
Straight up, that's the truth. Speaking of the phrase straight up was the #1 song in the country on this day, as performed by Miss Paula Abdul.
That was my jam when I was a kid. Like, not even kidding. Straight Up and Ice Ice Baby were, like, all I ever wanted to listen to.
I didn't have jams at that age. I had songs that I had to listen to in the back of the car because my mom would play them in the car. That's the only place I thought you could listen to music for like 6 years. I thought cars were the only places that could play music.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
That's sad.
Mm-hmm. We didn't have like a stereo.
Like, I had my own Walkman in like kindergarten or something.
No, I didn't get my own Walkman until like 6th grade. It was a CD Walkman.
Well, that's a Discman.
You're a Discman.
I had a Discman by then, too.
You're a disc. Yeah.
And we used to sit on the back of the bus in 6th grade and listen to Now 3, which featured What's My Age Again by Blink-182. And that makes me feel really, really old now.
They're up to like Now 506. Now it's what is it? In the future, that's what we call music. That's what they're calling it. That's what they're calling it. Son of a bee sting. All right, so you want to jump into this mess?
I suppose. The cold open, like, it was pointless as usual, and I feel like it was even shorter this week, but it was actually kind of relevant to my life because DJ is trying to get Michelle to roller skate with those little Fisher-Price skates that go on over your shoes, and I totally had those skates.
That's cool. Is that what makes it relevant? Because like millions of kids had those skates.
I know. That's the thing. I mean, like the late 80s, early 90s was like full of those skates.
Like everybody had those skates.
Did you have those skates?
No.
Then not everybody had those skates. So
I was
STFU.
the one. I didn't have a Walkman. I was a little Amish child getting up at 4 a.m. to bale the hay. And I came back in, my father was like, good job, son.
If it makes you feel better, my first pair of headphones didn't have a band on it, so I would have to hold the ear parts up by my ears.
Well, my headphones still don't have bands on them. They're just plain and black.
Well, they have earbuds now.
Yeah, but they don't have, like, it doesn't say, like, Matchbox 20 on these.
No, like the part that goes on your head, before they had earbuds and the headphones were on the outside of your ears.
I thought you meant like they put like the name of a band on there.
Like they weren't like earmuffs. I had to like hold them up to my ears because there was nothing to keep them on my head.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, it did.
Like, why didn't you just tape them?
To what?
Your head. Like, just like tape them to your ears. And then take the tape off when you're done.
Yes, because I really wanted to pull out all my hair.
I would have just pulled off the stuff on the sides, and girls don't have that part these days anyway.
I do.
They're all like, hey, we're going to shave the sides of our heads and have big old holes in our ears. We're alternative.
Anyway, Stephanie was like, she's not going to be able to do that. I couldn't skate until I was 4. And then Michelle kind of starts skating, which is more like just walking in the roller skates. And Stephanie's all like, oh man, she proved me wrong. Look at that Michelle. I suck. Because, after everything that happened in the middle-aged crazy episode, they just had to reinforce the idea that Stephanie's got, like, a ton of middle child syndrome going on.
Well, that and she's handicapped. Like, they reinforce that every episode, though. It's not just that one.
Yeah, it's not weird to be able to skate when you're a toddler. Like, I worked at a daycare before I met Tom, and we took the kids skating around Christmas every year. And we took the 2-year-olds, and they would put on those skates, and they would skate. And half the time, the 2-year-olds did better than, like, the kids in my class who were 4 and 5 did.
That's because they're all feet. Like, their legs are, like, a half a foot high. It's kind of easy when your legs aren't that high. That's why, like, short people or figure skaters. That's why, like, you don't see Shaq out doing figure skating. Because he's got very long legs.
See, that's something I would actually pay to see Shaq do, because that would be funny. And I find Shaq irritating, so every time he'd fall on his butt, I'd laugh.
See, I want to see him fight because he says he wants to do a mixed martial arts fight. I'd pay to see him do Shaq Fu live, like a live skate show, like a live ice show. And I would pay to see him do Dancing with the Stars because he would hurt somebody.
Thumbs down to all of this.
He would literally break a woman. He would break a woman with his bare hands. Be like, hey, woman, I'm big and I'm clumsy. Smash. And she would smash into 1,000,000 pieces. That's what he would do.
Do you have any thoughts about the cold open?
Just that Stephanie is stupid, as always. Like, she's just really stupid. Like, I'm sorry, but they wrote her as this dumbest person in the world. So that's a thing. So we go to Jesse and Joey writing a jingle in Jesse's room. And I noted that I've kind of acknowledged it so far this season, but Jesse, like, I don't know if Stamos went to the producers. He's like, hey, I want to be funny too. But he's doing a lot of voices. Like, he's not the voices guy.
No, he's not the voices guy.
But, like, this episode, he did Sammy Davis Jr. for an awkwardly long time.
Yes.
Like, even Coulier, as, like, not funny as he can be, like, he'll only, like, do a sentence or two. Stamos did Sammy Davis Jr. for a good 30 seconds. Like, a whole act. Like, he might as well have done his, like, biographical film while we were at it. He did it for so long. And it was so bad. Anyway, they acknowledged, 3 o'clock, turn back into housewives, because that's a thing. Because the girls come home at 3, and then they have to stop doing work, because DJ and Stephanie can't, like, change themselves. Like, apparently they poop themselves. That's the thing. And they have to wipe their butts. DJ into pubescence and Stephanie. Actually, Stephanie, I could see that. I could see them having to change Stephanie because she's really dumb. And I'm sorry to any Jodie Sweetin fans out there. I'm not insulting her. I'm sure she's a good girl who's gotten off of the math. But Stephanie Tanner was written to be the dumbest person in the world. Just a fact.
Yeah, well, they're trying to come up with a jingle for this convenience store called Hurry Mart that's open 24 hours a day. And, when the Sammy Davis Jr. bit doesn't quite work out for them, You know, Jesse's all like, Joey, what do you think about when you think 24-hour convenience store? And Joey's like, $6 bread. And I'm like, that might be the smartest thing Joey Gladstone has ever said.
Yeah, to this day, that's still a thing that happens at convenience stores. Like, there's a convenience store 3 buildings down from our
A
apartment.
village pantry for those of you who care.
And I'm not kidding. They sell TV dinners, like, 2 for $7. You go to Walmart, you can get them, like, 5 for $7.
Well, it also depends on the TV dinner, too. Like, your Stofers are going to cost more than your Michaelinas.
No, these are like...
Your banquets.
Yeah, these are just like a piece of fried chicken and some mashed potatoes. I used to buy them like all the time because the chicken's really good. And
Yeah, Tom likes frozen fried chicken that's been microwaved.
I do. I'm sorry. Sue me.
Also, the mashed potatoes that come in those things taste awful.
Well, they look awful, too. Like, I'm not a fan of the mashed potatoes. I love the chicken, though, because it's the easiest to cook chicken in the world.
When I was little, I ate a lot of lean cuisines when I lived with my grandparents. Not lean cuisines, kid cuisines. Yeah, kid cuisines.
I didn't. I ate real food because my mom wouldn't let me eat that stuff. By real food, I mean bologna sandwiches.
There is nothing real about bologna.
Bologna and cheese cut diagonally with a ding-dong and some soda.
Okay, what part of that is real food?
That you get it and it doesn't have to be cooked in the microwave. That's real.
How does that make it real?
You can touch bologna and it feels real in your hands.
So, like, if we get a bag of frozen broccoli that we have to cook in the microwave, it's not real?
Yes, absolutely.
You were on all the crack.
No, I'm on all the truth. I am a truth teller.
Hashtag all the crack.
I am on all the truth. No drugs. I tell the truth. That's what I do. So the girls walk in. Stephanie apparently went to school in her honeybee costume, which looks so impractical. Like, could you, like, it's like a puffy, like, skirt and, like, a hat that has hornets coming off of it.
Hornets?
Antenna. Antenna. That's the word I'm looking for. Antenna. No, but she has the antenna. Those things would have been ripped off, like, a minute into her class. And the dress would have just been a mess to deal with on the bus. But she wore it. But they walk up, hey guys, help us with our stuff because we can't do it on our own.
It's Jesse's day to drive the honeybees somewhere.
Who's going to be driven places? Are they like going to Home Depot and they're being picked up in a pickup truck to do minimal labor or minimum wage labor?
I don't know, because like it's like I told you before. I think we've discussed it on here when they had the honeybee episode with Karen or whatever. That when I was in Scouts, our meetings were after school at school. Like occasionally we had a meeting like at my troop leader's house where our parents would drop us off. But, like, there was no, like, carpool where they took over, like, individual people driving all the children somewhere at once, like, at one time. Like, I don't know. This is just strange.
My troop, the month I was in Scouts, our troop met at a church on, like, Monday nights at, like, 7 o'clock. And we were there it was, like, so awkward. That's part of the reason why I stopped going.
But your parents probably, like, dropped you off or took you individually, right? You weren't all, like, going in someone's minivan together?
Yeah, when some of the kids did that, like, lived closer, they would like, carpool in some parent's car. So that might be what this was.
Maybe.
Maybe. Yeah, Scouts are stupid.
No! Take it back.
I said that just to get a reaction out of you. I'm not taking it back.
I will pinch your nipple.
No.
Yes.
Fine. I'm taking it back. Scouts are the best. Scouts are so good. Hey,
you are just begging for a titty twister.
Hey, I said Scouts are so good.
You're being sarcastic about it.
No, I'm not. I have a thing.
Scouts are so good.
I do not sound like that.
Yes, you do.
That's a Hispanic accent, and you know it.
What?
Yes. Ow, that's my nippy. Stop with the nippy play.
Well, stop being jerky.
This isn't 50 Shades of Danny. Stop it.
Ew. Danny has, like, -1 shades, and they're all, like, beige.
Speaking of pain, teacher's like, hey, Joey, help me with my karate.
So he holds out his pencil, and she chops it in half.
Like, that's okay. Cool, we know how to chop. Again, I was in karate for 6 weeks. You're supposed to train alone. or with an instructor or someone with a higher belt. You don't just go to your uncle, hey, let's train karate, because he doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. Sorry. So I'm trying not to cuss. It irritated me. You don't just be like, hey, adult, let's train karate, and then you punch them. That's not how you train karate.
That's how I train karate.
Yeah, and you're still a white belt after 26 years. Daphne was like, hey, Jesse, teach me an Elvis song. And he's like, cool, because I love Elvis. And that's just a thing that's happened over the past, 30 episodes. Awesome.
All right, we got to have this thing done by tomorrow. How much time do we have before the girls come home?
Well, at the stroke of 3, we turn back into housewives.
All right, quick. What comes to your mind when I say 24-hour convenience store?
$6 for a loaf of bread.
It's not a catchy jingle. All right, think. Now, Hurry Mart has everything you need on your way home.
Kind of like the old general store.
Yes. That's it. That's it. Hurry Mart. The great American general store.
I love it. Kind of like a little mini mart on the prairie.
If you will, yes. All right, how much time do we have left?
Hi.
None.
Uncle Jesse, it's your day to drive the honeybee carpool. We can't be late.
I'm ready to buzz out of here.
Joey, will you help me with my karate?
Sure, go for it.
Hi-ya!
Ooh, I pity the guy who tries to attack you with a pencil.
Uncle Jesse, will you teach me an Elvis song for the honeybee talent show?
I'll be happy to help you out there, little mama.
Thank you very much. You're beautiful, Uncle.
No. Get the honey collar up, get the lip up. Go ahead, try it again.
Thank you very much. You're beautiful, Uncle.
So we get downstairs. I'm assuming it's the day after. Jesse's in the kitchen waiting for the phone to ring. And Michelle's there. By the way, where was Michelle the day before? Apparently they just weren't watching her.
Maybe she was taking a nap.
Well, they should address these things, because they're acting like at 3 o'clock all the kids come home. And I'm like, where's Michelle coming from? But Jesse's in the kitchen waiting for the phone to ring. And Michelle's down there with a play phone of her own. Or was it the real phone? Either way, she was there with a phone. And Joey's like, hey, I cleaned under my bed. 3 trash bags. I'm like, us too. Because we're slobs.
Kind of. We're working on that.
And they're like, okay, let's take the trash out. And Michelle locks them out of the house. My first thought is just go around to the front. I'm assuming it's unlocked because you people never lock the front door because you just want people to walk in and steal all your stuff. That's kind of been a thing so far. And there are episodes where they just leave the front door open the entire time. So it could be open. But they're like, Michelle, let us in. Let us in. And the phone rings. That's a word I forgot.
Michelle answers the phone and is like, Joey's not here. Bye. And hangs up. And Jesse is like, grab a pencil, take a message.
Oh, no, she was listening to whoever was on the other
Well, I know,
end
but I
for,
mean, that's all that she said.
Yeah, well, she's a 2-year-old. She doesn't know a lot of words.
Well, apparently she's been learning quite a few words, as we'll find out in a moment.
Yeah, Danny ends up walking into the house. He's like, hey, Michelle, what's going on? She's like, I locked Joey and Jesse on the patio.
And he's like, when did you learn patio? And she's like, Sunday. And when did you learn Sunday? Monday. Apparently, it's been a big week of word learning for Michelle.
Whereas Danny is way more impressed by his daughter's vocabulary than the fact that supposedly her guardians have just, bailed. He's like, whoa, words, cool.
Jesse's like, Michelle, I'll give you a kiss and a cookie if you let us back in. And so Danny, secretly comes over and, turns the knob and opens the door. And he's like, I'm ready for my kiss and my cookie. And everybody's like, not so much there.
And there's a lot of gay stuff on this episode, so just be forewarned. There's some very progressive stuff later on, though.
The phone rings again, and it is the Jingle Boss, whose name we find out is actually Mr. Malatesta, but I'm just going to continue to refer to him as Jingle Boss.
I like Mr. Malatesta. I think he deserves the respect, as we'll find out later on. I think he deserves the respect.
Well, you can call him Mr. Malatesta if you want, but I think it's a mouthful, and I'm just going to call him Jingle Boss.
Yeah. You and your army of Alexites. Also, brother, this is a good moment to bring up. There's a controversy within our podcast universe. I was going to bring it up during the open, but I forgot because we were recording this very abruptly on a Sunday morning as my foot falls asleep.
Mine just did too. I had to switch.
Yes. Prior guest Kevin Marshall has raised a funk on Facebook, and I've decided...
It's kind of my fault.
Yes, I've decided that we need to discuss this as a family, not just our family, but all of us as a podcast family. I set a rule that guests can only be on once a season.
What I have come to refer to as Tom's Law.
Tom's Law. Kevin has taken offense to this. He wants to be on more often, which I would love.
I would too.
But I don't want to burn any of our guests out because we have lots of great guests that we can have on multiple times and they'd be great.
He just really wants to talk about my 21st birthday.
You have a phone. But he wants to come back on sooner than that. So here's what I'm thinking. Listeners, if you want Kevin on sooner than next season, season 3, use the hashtag #RepealTomsLaw on Twitter. On Twitter, hashtag repeal, REPEAL, Tom's Law. Or on Facebook, just comment on our page, facebook.com/everywhereyoulookpodcast.
Yes, Kevin did so last night,
Yes.
so you could add to the discussion on his post if you like.
Yes. Or just make your own post or like his post. Hashtag #RepealTomsLaw if you want Kevin back on sooner than season 3.
I hope the 6th grade posse don't come track us down.
Oh, they better not. They better not. So, I had to bring that up. And Danny wants a kiss.
Yes. Oh, and Jingle Boss called to say that they bought the jingle. They were impressed.
So we go to the ad agency where Mr. Malatesta is drinking a small cup of tea because he's rich. That's what rich people do. They drink little small cups of tea.
Maybe he's drinking espresso.
Possibly. Either way, it's a little tiny cup. And he's just taking sips from it. I'm like, ugh. Throw up in my mouth. Also, he has like a really old-timey, like, newspaper, like, newsy boy voice. Like, hey, what's going on? Hey, I can't do it. I can't do it justice.
He's like, I was so impressed that I want to offer you boys full-time jobs. Let's have you guys go ahead and come up with an ad campaign for this, and if it goes well, you've got the job.
Yeah, see, that's the thing, is, like, they're jingle writers, but they keep just being asked to come up with ad campaigns. Like, full ad campaigns. They're not like, here's the campaign, write a jingle for it.
And they're like, okay, we'll have it ready next week. And he's like, nope, the pitch is tomorrow. Go and work.
So I can't get over how weird of a stereotype Mr. Malatesta is. Because, like, he does have the little tiny small cup, which apparently is a rich person thing. But again, he also has the 1930s old-timey voice. Like, hey, news, extra. Read all about it. I can't do the voice. I'll insert a clip or
But
something.
now I just want to watch Newsies.
Well, that's kind of what he sounded like. All the kids in that movie. So anyway, they're like, oh, we don't know about the jingle thing, and then he offers them, like, the best office of all time.
Like, seriously, there's, like, a gorgeous view of the bay. Like,
There's a gorgeous view of a backdrop that they drew 5 minutes before this scene started.
why not? But it's like, why would these new guys get such a good view? Like, that's, like, what you reserve for your higher-ups.
Well, he's probably like, hey, we'll downsize them in, like, 3 months, because that's what corporate types do.
And we go back home where Danny's like, yeah, no problem. I can cover for you. It's fine. And DJ's like, I need Joey to work on my karate. And, like, she's punching, like, one of those hand things.
It's
like,
a pad. She's punching a pad, which is on Danny's hand while he's holding it out.
And she's like, hold it higher. And he's like, no.
But for fuck's sake, that's not how you train karate.
Work on your scary faces.
Like, what the hell are these old men's issues in the writer's room with karate? Like, do they just think that it's like, oh, man, scary Asian, blarg, racism.
But it gets better because Stephanie's like, but I need Uncle Jesse to teach me an Elvis song. And Danny's like, no problem. I've got this covered. Elvis did karate.
Yeah, he's like, he thinks that the girls can watch him perform an Elvis song, and DJ will learn karate from it.
There's just a lot of extra kicking involved.
Like, I know it was written as a joke, but deep down, I really do think that these old men writers were like, oh, karate, it's not that hard. You just go hi-ya a few times and you punch somebody. I'm like, fuck you.
And after all of Danny's gyrating with extra kicks, Stephanie's like, that was Elvis? And he's like, yeah. And DJ's like, Presley? And I actually, like, laughed out loud at that.
Yeah, you laughed a couple of times at this
I
episode.
did.
I'm ashamed of you. You're getting a divorce. A divorce, I say.
The day after Valentine's Day, really?
It's like 3 days after Valentine's Day.
Well, yes, we already said that we were recording this on Sunday morning. Don't try to, like, hold up an illusion you've already cracked.
Listen, I will hold up any illusion. Any illusion. I will not crack it. I will crack it so hard.
I took you to the Children's Museum yesterday. You cannot divorce me today.
Fine. This isn't live. We're not streaming live into your ears. Gosh. You're a jerk.
They did have a couple of pictures of the Tanner family at the museum, and I took pictures of them, but then I realized at the end of our trip that my SD card was not in my camera, so no pictures for you.
Yes, no pictures for you and no soup for you, Alex. None.
Well, it's okay. We'll just give my brother Ian 2.
Yes. People don't get that reference. Hey, I'm Alex, and I'm dropping references that 10 people on the entire planet get.
Okay, well, I'm sorry. we went to dinner for my birthday a few years ago at this, like, really nice place in Muncie called Vera Mae's that my family really likes. And my brother, like, as an appetizer, ordered 2 soups. And ever since then, we just kind of call him 2 Soup. And, like, for his birthday last year, we gave him 2 different soups. And it was awesome.
Your brother once also pooped turquoise.
He did, after eating Superman ice cream. In full view of the next street over where anyone could have seen him take a dump in the sunflowers.
I imagine it like one of those Play-Doh toys that you squeeze and then it comes out. So for those of you who we haven't completely grossed out, yeah, everyone's like, whoa. Like, that's how I transitioned all these scenes, as I'm sure you've all learned 35 episodes into this. Yeah, this episode I figured out has defeated the entire purpose of the series. Because it's like, okay, so Uncle Jesse and Joey have given up their lives to help raise these girls. A year later, Danny is pushing them to take a job where they wouldn't be able to raise the girls. Whereas in this situation, no one has gotten better at raising kids. I'd argue they've gotten worse. DJ is probably old enough to raise herself at this point.
Have they addressed whether or not Pam worked?
No.
Like, I feel like she was probably a stay-at-home mom.
Yeah. And, like, they've also pointed out that Granny Katsopoulos is, like, taking care of Michelle sometimes. And that, which we'll find out in about 10 minutes. And it doesn't make, like, a lot of
Well, I
sense.
figured that was, like, a once-in-a-while kind of thing. Like, an emergency thing.
Then where was Michelle in the first scene where...
She was probably taking a nap. Or locking people out of the house. She likes to do that.
So then she'd make a great bodyguard or a security guard. But you don't, like, it isn't like kids only need to be raised for a year and then they're okay. Maybe one of them can take it. And also, like I brought up in the opening of this podcast, Uncle Jesse, like 5 episodes ago, or 6 episodes ago, wasn't that long ago, had a big crisis over quitting a full-time job to do his music. A job which, granted, it sucked.
But it was, like, more his style. Like, it was something he liked at least.
But still, the whole thing was, I need to quit my job so I can do my music. Whereas, like, not even 2 months later, he's like, I need to take this job, which would not allow me to do music at all. But I'm super gung-ho into it. Blarg.
Take this job and shove it.
That's not this one. So the guys are like, good night, girls, and they turn off the light. I'm not kidding. They have like 500 lamps in this room.
Danny over Elvis'd himself, by the way.
Yes.
He has strained his back in one way or another from all those high kicks.
But like, I'm not kidding. They turned off the light and the room somehow got brighter. Like, there's so many lamps in this room.
And Danny also mentions that the guy's being possibly up for a full-time job is one of the happiest days of his life.
Yes.
At which point I'm like, how lame does your life have to be that two other people possibly being up for a job is one of the happiest days of your life?
Well, he's like, oh, I brought them together and I made them friends. Like, was that the real purpose of this? Like, is that maybe this week's murder theory? That Danny killed Pam because he wanted Jesse and Joey to be closer friends because he had no friends outside of work.
It's possible.
It's insane. But the show is also insane and often has very, very low stakes. What I'm trying to get at is the girls don't want the guys to go back to work because, again, someone needs to raise them and Danny's never home.
And they bring that up. I mean, it's a very good point. Who's going to take care of us if everyone is working full-time?
Exactly. Which, again, that's the reason they were brought into the home in the fucking first place. God. I'm getting angry.
We go to the office, I'm guessing the next day, and Jesse's like, all right, we're about to do this presentation. Any minute, our future's going to come walking through that door, and in toddles Michelle. And she's like, hey, everyone, it's me, Michelle. I'm here. That is a paraphrase, by the way.
And then she grabs her crotch and poops on the floor.
The client is running late, but Grandma Katsopoulos has brought Michelle by because she has to get to school and can't watch her any longer. And the guys are like, but Mom, we're going to have this presentation. We can't have her here. And Grandma Katsopoulos starts reminiscing about Jesse being a baby. And then she grabs his butt. Which apparently, from the way Jesse talks, is something she does anytime he gets a job.
So she's only done it once before then because he was a cockroach killer before this.
Cockroach killer.
Unless she, pinches his butt before all of his concerts.
Cockroach killer.
She's going to the Smash Club and grabbing his butt before all the concerts. Yeah, that's... think about how screwed up these... there has to have been a writer on this show whose mom, before each gig he would get, would, fly out to California and, grab his butt.
You know who has never grabbed my butt?
Who?
Either of my parents.
Good! Same with my parents. My parents don't go anywhere near my butt.
I've grabbed your butt.
You have, and
it's cute and ovally.
You have, and you're not my mom.
Thank God.
You're not my dad.
Thank God.
You aren't a step-parent.
Thank God.
You aren't Alex. There we go. We broke the rhythm. Everybody. Wave hello out the window. Pushy grabbing aside, they hide Michelle under the desk because...
Jingle Boss is coming, y'all.
Who knows how long this meeting could have gone.
And they give her a tiny cookie to, hold her over.
This could have been going for, hours. But they're gonna hide her under the desk. Maybe she dies. Who knows? She gets, toxic shock from all the poop in her diaper.
Well, they begin their presentation with the Appleby family, who are traveling in a station wagon, and Jesse's playing guitar, and Joey is pretending to be every member of the family, complete with his or her own individual hat. And the family includes a father, a mother, a boy, a girl, and a dog.
Again, for jingle writers, they sure are pitching a lot of ad campaigns as opposed to jingles. There wasn't a jingle in this.
They were supposed to be doing an ad campaign for this.
But what I'm trying to get across is they haven't pitched one jingle.
Well, the jingle comes at the end. It's not very long.
But for their entire run, they're like, oh, we're jingle writers, but they're doing entire campaigns.
Well, it sounded kind of like the Casa de Pancakes one was a jingle. While we heard of it when it wasn't being dubbed over with the locomotion.
Fine, the one. It's like they don't know how to apply for jobs. They just say the word jingle, and then they can't read what's after it.
But as they approach the Hurry Mart, it turns into an old-fashioned general store. And they go inside, and an old man is all like, oh, it's the Applebee's. Come and buy some houndstooth candy. Rah!
Leave the voices to Coulier. Jesse starts playing banjo at one point because, of course, John Stamos... It felt like John Stamos is like, oh, hey, guys, I learned how to play banjo. Could we write an episode about it? And we can't do that. We can incorporate it into an episode. Deal.
You know who can play the banjo?
Who?
My Gramps.
Cool. That's cool. I thought you were going to say you.
No.
See, because then that would have been relevant. And we could have had you play banjo.
But
on the show.
apparently, Michelle is super into banjo music because the banjo music lures her out from her hiding spot behind the desk. And Jesse hurriedly tries to cover her up with a poster because, that's going to work. And he picks her up and holds her, but her legs are, like, dangling underneath. And then out of nowhere, she just goes moo. And they're like, oh, there's going to be a wandering cow in this commercial.
I guarantee you the reason why this whole scenario was written was because one of these writers was an angry jingle writer, and he, at one point, because there's no way women are writing on this show because it's the 80s, they're all a bunch of old white men. They don't allow women to do this stuff because it's the 80s, but they're all sitting around, and then a baby pops out. I guarantee you this has happened to someone for real.
Up ahead, a modern Hurry Mart magically becomes the old general store. The friendly clerk greets him at the door. He looks like your grandpa.
Grandpapa? Dag nabbit Pepina? Look, it's the Applebee's. Howdy, folks.
Inside, the Applebee's goes shopping. The little kids run around. Oh, see, there they are, running around. They're running. Little kids, good little runners, aren't they? They run. Help me out, Joseph.
Look at those Applebee's go.
The family is driving away, waving goodbye to the friendly clerk. Even Scruffy barks so long.
Moo.
Moo?
A stray cow wanders by. See? A stray cow wanders by. And as we bid a fond farewell to the Applebee's and that unexpected yet adorable little cow, we hear, Hurry Mart, the great American general store.
The vice president lady loves it except for the cow and wants the guys to be on the campaign. And Jingle Boss is like, okay, you're hired. It's all good. And then Jesse makes him think that they're gay.
Yeah. But the cool thing is, Mr. Malatesta, this is 1989. People are been dicks about gay stuff forever, and they still are dicks about gay stuff.
Yeah, especially with the AIDS epidemic.
Yes, which we learned about yesterday at the museum. There was an entire display dedicated to Ryan White, who died of AIDS, who had his own HBO movie and such.
He was from Indiana.
Yes. The coolest thing, maybe of the entire series so far, is there's a joke where Joey and Jesse are like, oh, this is our baby. Clearly alluding, oh, hey, everyone, we're gay, haha. And Mr. Malatesta, the mean curmudgeon-y boss, is just like, cool. Whatever you want to do in your private life. That's awesome.
And I find that weird that they would introduce her that way, though. Like, I understand that you take care of her, and I understand that you feel, like, a little bit of, like, ownership over her, I guess, in a way. But, like, okay, it's like sometimes I'm a nanny, and I watch 3 kids. And, occasionally if I'm, like, talking to, like, my best friend about it or something, I'll be like, oh, my kids did this the other day. But, like, everybody knows that they're not, like, my children. Like, I would never introduce them as my kids to a stranger or somebody who didn't already know the situation,
But they live with the kid.
Well, I understand that. And, like, I've called the kids in my preschool class my kids before, but, like, I wouldn't be like, oh, hey, these are my kids. I'd be like, oh, this is my niece, Michelle, who we take care of.
They were probably also very nervous because it was a strange situation.
It's just weird. But they do it again later.
But also, it's totally believable that they meant what you mean when you say my kids. But it's San Francisco in 1989 where everyone was kind of gay. I pointed it out not for that, but because I wanted to congratulate whoever wrote that line.
Well, I do agree. That was progressive thinking for the time.
Yeah, that was like really cool that he wasn't like, ugh, that wasn't gonna...
No job for you, gay people.
Homo. Yeah, it was kind of cool, actually. I'm like, that's the one thing on this episode that I'm glad I got to see was progressiveness, because even these days, that's not a thing, unfortunately.
So we go to the house where the guys are drinking canned champagne which I didn't realize was a thing.
Dude, they have champagne in a box. There's champagne in a bag now.
Well, I've seen wine in a box and a bag, but I haven't seen champagne in a box or a bag yet. I mean, I'm sure they probably have it, but I haven't seen it.
Yeah. I don't drink alcohol, so I don't know.
I like champagne.
Alcoholic.
I'm not an alcoholic.
Boozing her up. She's double fisting beers right now, actually. You can't see it. But
I don't even like beer.
She's like, Bud Light, Bud Light, Bud Light with lime.
I don't even remember the last time I had a drink. Oh, Christmas.
That's because you keep drinking. That's why you can't remember. It's because you're hungover.
No, I had a mimosa at Christmas.
No, you had a mimosa yesterday.
I wish.
And you're just like, oh, I'm hungover all the time. Blarg.
Yes, that's totally my life. I'm just an alcoholic and I drink all the time.
I'm an alcoholic and my name is Alex Green.
Danny comes in and DJ has won her green belt and Stephanie won the Golden Hive Award for talent for her Elvis impersonation.
Well, when they walk in, Danny's like, hey, show off your moves. Again.
Yeah, and DJ's like,
can't do it.
No. And he's like, hey, I'm not spending all this money to send you to karate so you can not do anything. At least give us a hiya. And she goes, hiya, and waves and walks away.
What an asshole this Danny Tanner is. Like, pressuring his kid.
Hiya!
Ow! Practicing for your green belt, are ya?
I am.
No, again, you can't just like, oh, hey, I'm going to show off my karate moves now. Because, I mean...
Karate moves.
Because, I mean, it's more like just advanced versions of the same things. You can't really tell.
Moves.
And it's essentially when you're like, hey, show off your moves. He's like, hey, I'm paying for you to become a trained killer. Kill somebody now. My 12-year-old daughter. Please.
Maybe DJ's going to be an assassin. Maybe that's the whole thing. She's secretly in assassin training.
Like, it's like, what the heck's the name for the schools that teach you how to, like do trade school? Maybe it's like a trade school for like killers. That's where he's sending her. And he's like, hey, show off your moves. And she's like, okay, fine. Snaps Stephanie's neck and kills her. Like that's I don't know. And Stephanie's wearing like Elvis costume that is probably just as expensive as an actual costume that Elvis wore. But it looks way cheaper. Like, it looks fancy, but it looks nothing like Elvis's jumpsuit. It looks like a jumpsuit. It vaguely looks like an Elvis thing, and they clearly spent way too much money on it. But it does not look accurate whatsoever.
The girls are not very excited to find out that the guys have full-time jobs now. They start laying the guilt on pretty thick.
Also, going back to the Stephanie Elvis thing, how the fuck do you win a talent contest like that?
Doing an Elvis impersonation?
Like, no, like, it's... almost anyone can do it. Like, thank you very much. See? Anybody can do it. Boom. I just did it. Would I win the honeybee contest?
Well, maybe everybody else in her honeybee troop is, like, really lame.
Like, and we've established Stephanie's stupid. She's a stupid child.
Like, maybe somebody was gargling their ABCs or something.
Someone was like, hey, everybody, here's a card trick, and then she throw the cards in the air.
52 card pickup! Make it rain!
Oh, that's probably what happened. Or like all the other kids, like it's a talent show. Our talent is to watch a talent show.
We never had a talent show like at all that I can remember, like at school or in Girl Scouts or anything like that. Although we kind of, sort of did a talent performance at camp for Girl Scouts one time. Like, we were all just decided to put on, like, an entertainment show, not, like, a talent show. And so we split into two groups, and my group, we pretended we were the Spice Girls, and we did some lip-syncing.
I was going to say, lip-syncing, they're like lip-syncing contests. You don't just like, oh, man, here's my talent. I can mouth the words to songs. And if I don't remember them, I can make my mouth look like they're singing the words.
And it was the first time I got to wear platform shoes. I borrowed them from another girl because my parents wouldn't let me have them. And they were so cool, and I was so excited.
Okay, everybody, make sure you clip that piece of audio. If you ever want to blackmail Alex. Platform shoes are so cool.
They were at the time. Like, that's what everybody was wearing.
I wasn't wearing them.
All the cool girls at my school were wearing these platform shoes. They were, like, white and, like, chunky, and they had, like, I think they had straps at the back. I don't remember, though. Kind of like clogs, but not.
So they were all strippers then.
No, but platform shoes were popular in the 90s. Like, Skechers was making those really chunky shoes. Like, I did in 3rd grade get a pair of Skechers that were somewhat chunky, but not, like, horribly chunky. But, like, that was the thing in the 90s.
They don't have a better adjective to describe the Skechers than chunky?
That's how the shoes are. That's how you describe them.
Here's some chunky shoes. If someone bought me chunky shoes, I would not put them on. I would throw them in the trash because they've been thrown up on. That's what chunky, or like, oh, here's some fat shoes, fatty.
Ew, you just seriously say it, don't spray it.
I have an issue with my mouth, I'm sorry. No, and I've just drank a bottle of water. I have a lot of saliva.
That is not an excuse.
It is, God. No, like, if you give me chunky shoes, either they've been thrown up on, or I'm fat, and you're telling me I'm fat
Or
and I need
it's
special
just
shoes.
a descriptor.
A descriptor of fat people shoes.
No, they're not.
Hey, everybody, here's my chunky shoes.
It describes
But if
the height and width of the sole.
Here's my chunky shoes, but if I lose 30 pounds, I can wear my regular shoes again. But now, since I'm fat, I have to wear my chunky shoes.
I want to punch you. I'm going to test my green belt skills on you.
I'm just saying, chunky shoes are for fat people and people who like their feet covered in vomit. That's what chunky is. Ow, son of a bee sting.
Hiya.
Oh, look, Glorg. The girls are like, wow, everything's gonna be weird now that the guys are going to work. Emotional speech.
So they go down to the basement where for some reason Joey has like scales. Like justice kind of scales.
Joey's
not
just
like
weighing things down there. Hey guys, because he wants to be weighed for his chunky shoes. Like, hey, I'm 203 today. I have to wear my chunky shoes. But if I'm 198 by the end of today, when I go out on my hot date, I can wear my regular chucks.
I need to find a place to pinch you.
My legs are getting skinnier. Stop trying to pinch me. This is bad audio.
It's bad audio because you're just awful.
No, I'm just saying, the chunky shoes are sucky.
Shut up about chunky shoes.
But yeah, they have the scale, and they're trying to, like, weigh out their options. Like
red checkers are like pro-job, black checkers are anti-job.
And like they get all the way through it, and Jesse's like, okay, we're more pluses than minuses to this job.
Yes, but some of the things that are like in their piles, like Jesse looks good in an apron. That's actually something that was said.
Well, he could wear an apron when he's out on a date then.
But hey, they'll be making a lot of money.
Yeah. But then after they're like, okay, we're going to work, Jesse's like, finally, like, he's like, wait, I do music. Like, and I could fully see whoever, like Jeff Franklin, like, going through the entire script writing process with all these people, and then right when they get to the scene, they're like, oh shit, Jesse's a musician, we forgot. Fuck, what are we supposed to do now?
And Joey's like, my comedy, are we ready to give up our dreams for this?
Exactly.
But then Joey rightly points out that they've had more success in 3 months of jingle writing than they have in years of comedy and music.
And that's when a compromise happens, children. This is what you do.
And Joey makes a reference to life being like a salad bar and says something about like beets not being changed, and I'm just thinking, who actually eats beets from a salad bar?
Apparently Uncle Joey, not Uncle Joey, Joey Gladstone. He's on an uncle.
Like,
fuck.
Ew, like just eat like your regular salad, get some cottage cheese, maybe a little pudding if you feel up to it, but like the beets? Really?
Oh, killer tofu.
Don't eat tofu either.
What salad bar has tofu?
I don't know, but tofu can be bad for you depending on your house. Like, tofu is not good for me.
All right, maybe there were a few things we didn't consider when we took this job, Joseph.
All right, Jess. Red checkers are reasons to keep the job. Black checkers are reasons to quit.
All right, well, one major black checker is that we get a lot of great things out of raising these kids. I never thought I'd say this before, but I dig being Mr. Mom.
Never thought I'd say this, but I think you look smashing in an apron.
All right. Missing the girls is one good reason not to keep the job.
On the other hand, the job pays more money than we've ever seen in our lives, and that is a major red checker.
Right. And we wouldn't just be writing jingles anymore. We're coming up with whole commercial campaigns. I mean, that's a big step up. Plus, we like what we do. All right, red checker.
And it did feel great sitting in that big office, being out in the real world. King me.
You got it. Well, looks like we're going to work.
I guess so.
Joseph, there's one thing I'm forgetting. My music. I mean, if we took this job, there wouldn't be any time to write or play gigs. That's a major part of my life. Stack of black.
And hey, I'd have no time to work on my comedy. I mean, what good would this Bullwinkle voice be at the office?
Black checker. All right, Joseph, really think about this. Now, are we ready to give up our dreams for this?
I don't want to.
Neither do I.
But you have to admit, we've had more success in the last 3 months of advertising than of all those years in music and comedy.
Red checker.
Red checker.
Oh, boy.
You know, Jess, life is like a salad bar. You have all these great choices, but you can't help but think to yourself, how often are they changing those beets?
So we go back to the ad office, and they convince Mr. Malatesta to let them work from home. And it's like the easiest negotiation process, because they're like, oh, we're stressing out so much. And then they just tell him, and he's like, cool, deal. You guys are still gay, and that's totally awesome.
And then Danny and the girls come in bearing, like, house plants, and Jesse's like, oh, these are our kids. And then Mr. Malatesta, there I will say that for you, is
Thank
like,
you.
again, I don't want to know what goes on at home. That's your personal business. Because now he's under the impression that Danny and Jesse and Joey are all gay together and raising these children.
That was a little weird. Like, apparently people in the 80s thought that you could just be gay with as many people as you wanted.
Well, you could. I mean, people are in polyamorous relationships.
But, oh, here's my 9-person gay couple. Couple means 2 people. But it's a little much for the 80s even. Like, oh, hey, I'm just going to be cool with you being in a polyamorous 3-person gay relationship. Like, it's a cool thing. If you do it, that's awesome. That's even a bit much for a progressive man like Mr. Malatesta. But still, Mr. Malatesta is the best character now because he is, like, way more progressive and cool about gay stuff than anybody on this entire show.
Oh, they're all like, oh, we'll just take them back home because that's where we're working from now. And the girls are like, yay! Fist pumps! Like, not really, but, you know, essentially.
And they pump each other's fists. Like, they grab each other by the wrist and go, chick, 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 chick. That's what they do.
And Stephanie's like, Daddy, can you work from home too? And he's like, no, the crew members would scuff our floors.
Which, I'm like, no, that's bullshit because you've been working from home the past, like, 6 episodes. Every week, the B-plot is Danny Tanner trying to find a way to just shoot video around his house and air it on TV so he doesn't have to go to work.
And the guys are like, oh, but before we leave this beautiful office, let's come out to the balcony and get a look at the view. And so everyone makes the mistake of not making sure that Michelle is, like, with an adult, and they all go out, and Michelle locks them on the balcony and sits down to read a magazine. Like,
The end.
why do you not make sure that the baby is with someone? You know, like...
Hey, let's take the baby out to the balcony and then dangle her over.
That hadn't happened yet.
Well, I could see Joey doing it, though.
But they, okay, first of all, Michelle has shown a precedence for shutting people outside. But second of all, like, she's a toddler. You need to know where she is at all times. Why are you just expecting her to follow you outside? Like, why is she not being held? Or someone holding her hand? Or why is she not in front of everyone else? You know, like, why are you just leaving her to trail behind you? She could get lost. She could run away. Someone could come up and snatch her, and you would never even know because she's behind you and they were a ninja.
Like, what if Mr. Malatesta and his wife couldn't have kids, and he's like, I'm gonna steal this one?
Yeah, maybe he secretly does not approve of their gayness, and he's just like, I'm going to take your children away one by one and save them from this den of sin.
Like, he grabs her and runs her directly to child services. Excuse me, CPS, this child has been raised by homos. Take her away.
I found this wandering cow.
Oh, for fuck's sake. The episode has ended. It is done. Who was literally the worst for you this week, Alex?
This might be a controversial choice, but I think I might go with Michelle.
Michelle. Michelle is literally the worst. Because there was no one that was really, like, a dick this week. Like, Danny was kind of a dick at times.
But Michelle was totally a dick.
Like, Michelle literally locked them out on a balcony where they could have died.
Like, we don't know when someone's gonna get that office.
Yeah.
Somebody might not come in there for weeks.
Yeah, like, were they gonna jump? Were they, like, the fire department would have to bring out like, the trampoline thing for them to, like, jump on.
They're all gonna be forced to, like, urinate in front of each other in a corner.
Yeah, in
like-
front of all of San Francisco. Like, imagine, like, the news story. You know, Wake Up San Francisco host Danny Tanner locked on a balcony by his baby. You know, the entire
Becky
town.
Donaldson reporting live.
Yeah. You know, Jesse's up there like, I can't do my music from here. So yeah, Michelle, congratulations. You are officially bitchy enough to be literally the worst, literally the best, Mr. Malatesta, for being a super cool dude about gay stuff.
Wait, don't worry, Michelle. I'm sure this won't be the last time you're literally the worst.
God, she was such a little shit. So with that, before we head out, like I said at the beginning, I do have someone to cuss out who left a very lovely iTunes review, and therefore is joining the cuss list. If you would like to join the cuss list, like Special Keezy will be in just a moment, please subscribe on iTunes at tinyurl.com/fullhousepodcast, rate us, preferably 5 stars, and write a short review. And then I'll cuss you out on a future episode. And if you want me to, like, plug things for you, mention them in the review, but that's neither here nor there. So, Special Keezy. First off, special. What makes you fucking special? Are you a fucking special snowflake? Are you a unique snowflake, you damn jerk?
Maybe he's the special, like the Lego movie.
I'm doing the cussing here. For fuck's sake. It's my cuss list. It's not the Alex and Tom cuss list. It's the Tom cuss list.
Hashtag repeal Tom.
Fuck. You're not fucking special. You're just like the rest of us, you fucking clown. Listen, you're not fucking special. You're regular Keezy. Because unless you have fucking superpowers, you damn jackass. And Keezy. That's a dumb name. I think I went to school with a girl named Kinsey, which kind of sounds like Keezy, and she was a total bitch. So you're a bitch too, because you have a similar sounding name. You're probably just like her. You're a bitch. You're a regular bitch. A basic bitch. You are a basic bitch. Keezy. Regular Keezy. Simple Keezy. Fuck you. Who the fuck do you think you are? If you would like to be cussed out just like Special Keezy just was, please, again, tinyurl.com/fullhousepodcast. Write a short review, subscribe, rate us 5 stars in iTunes, and I will cuss you out on a future episode of the show. So, again, thank you very much, Special Keezy, for the kind review you left recently. But with that, I think we're going to head out. Everywhere you look, there's a
Sammy double whammy.
You're lost out there and you're all alone. A light is waiting to carry